Yeah, buddy, you want to go to the gym too, man? Yeah, it's shoulder day, huh? Alright, today we're going over the shoulder day from the boost routine. It's going to be kick ass.
Alright, so here I'm starting with the first exercise, which is the 3x3 upright rows for shoulders. And I've already done my warm-ups for this, so I'm getting right into the heavy sets now. 225 for 3. And when you're lifting it, it's okay to use a little bit of force to throw it up there. The whole goal here is that you have all that weight that's pulling down against your elbows. From there, after my third set of the 3x3 for upright rows, I'm dropping it down to 40% weight for a dirty 30, 30 straight reps. And with this, it's important to keep constant motion. And this one doesn't need to be forced up quite as much, but the goal here is that I am keeping that tension on the shoulder muscle. And you almost want to pretend like you're a puppet and you have strings pulling up from your elbows rather than your hands actually moving. That's going to put more of the emphasis on your shoulder and less feeling into the forearms. Once I have finished that drop set, I now move over to the 7 reps with the slow one in the middle and 6 following. And here I'm doing the seated rear delt fly. And again, I'm trying to make sure that the direction of my pull is coming from my elbow and not my hands. I'm not extending my triceps. The goal here too is you want to keep your body about even, like the letter T. So shift your seat so you're not too far up or down. Now following that exercise, or you can superset too is fine. In some gyms they're not close together like this one, is the seated shoulder press. And you can do it on a machine, dumbbells, or whatever you want. But again, we're doing 7 reps, followed with a slow one, and then 6 more regular reps. And here, if you notice, I'm moving my hands from roughly my chin to the top of my head, except for during the slow movement, which I go from the bottom all the way to the top and so on. That middle range of motion is where most of the tension sits on your shoulder muscle. Once you have completed the 3 main exercises, at the bottom you will see the 3 finishers for the shoulder day. And in order, I'm going to show them to you. One being 2 sets of push-ups to failure. And now a lot of people might think of this as a chest exercise, but it's all dependent on how you position the hands. It will engage the chest to some degree no matter what. But if you position your hands with your elbows pointing back towards you rather than out to the side, you can actually engage the anterior deltoid muscles, or the front of your shoulder. And it's all about just keeping that constant tension on the muscles and going all the way up and all the way down not necessarily does that, because anytime you lock out a joint, you're sitting there resting. So you want to just keep that blood flow pumping into that muscle group. Now the second exercise on there is a lateral raise hold. And all this is sets where you're just holding it for a set period of time, in this case 30 seconds, and you're just making a T like you would for a lateral raise with dumbbells. And one thing to notice here is that my thumbs, the position of my thumbs is on top of the dumbbell. And what this is allowing me to do is keep the tension in my shoulder muscle, rather than if you have your thumb wrapped around, you can actually use some of your forearm to compensate. So I want to keep all that tension on my shoulder. It's also important to note that with this exercise, the position of my arm, the rotation of my upper arm, is actually tilted so that my elbow, the back of my elbow, is slightly higher than the inside of my elbow, or the pit of my elbow. And what that's doing, it's keeping the position open to where I'm keeping that constant tension again on the shoulder muscle, rather than if I were to turn it, it actually will cause me to use some of my bicep and forearm muscles. Now the final exercise here for the finishers is a iron cross, and essentially all you're doing is going back and forth with dumbbells, keeping your thumbs on top, and that way one arm is doing a front raise and the other doing a lateral raise. And I turn to the side so you can get a look at how it looks from that angle as well. But just like with the lateral raise hold, you want to keep your elbow tilted slightly upwards. The last thing here we're looking at is the extreme stretch. And in the workout program, I actually use a dumbbell. So the arm that I'm holding across my body, that one I would typically hold on to some sort of weight or something to grab, so that I have extra resistance pulling against my shoulder joint to give more of a stretch. But if that's complicated, you can just grab your elbow and pull it across. And then, depending on what's comfortable for you, you can position your arm in many different ways. Some people hook it underneath. Some people, hold it on top. It's whatever is comfortable for you. But the main emphasis is to pull the shoulder across the body without twisting at the waist, so you can get a full stretch of that shoulder joint.
For those of you that feel like the shoulder day is too short, your shoulders really need that dedication to just themselves, because most people, when they train shoulders, they train them wrong. I found that actually a lot with back movements too, and it's just a matter of engaging the muscles and knowing how to contract them. So that's why I have those slow movements in there, but just get in the habit of focusing on what muscles are contracting, and so you can actually feel that weight and develop it over time. Because if you're in there just banging away for a long time, especially in a muscle group that you might not feel as easily, you're just going to end up doing more harm than good. You want to get in there, feel it, get out, recover, so that that muscle can get stronger. And if you feel like you have to do something afterwards, get out, go for a walk, do some cardio, whatever it is, that's fine. But just don't overdo it. Make sure you're feeding your body enough and allowing it to recover. And if you're really hitting that muscle hard, you'll feel like I am right now. I can barely hold this up. Tomorrow, I'll take you guys through I believe it's the chest day tomorrow, so we'll go through that workout together.